Okay, listen, no one walks down the aisle to get married with the intention of getting a divorce, and still, divorce happens to the best of us. Couples you just knew would be together forever end up calling it quits because the hurdles that popped up on their love journey just were too high to clear. And after the love is gone, the heartache, the anger, the shame, the depression, even the grief, it can all be overwhelming for both partners. But today, our guests say you can recover from a divorce, physically, financially, and most important, emotionally. So are you ready to have a real conversation about getting over your divorce? Let's talk about it today on Portia. Hello and welcome to the show. What do you get when you put 4 divorcees all in one TV studio? It's a really good conversation, but let us be clear. We are not man bashing. We're not doing deep dives on our husbands, none of that. We're just talking about what it takes to get over the heartbreak of divorce and being open to love again. Our guests today, really dynamic women, including LaNise Thrasher. She is a certified life coach and the author of It Takes Courage to Do This. Her own experiences with divorce put her on a path to help other women heal from divorce and heartache. And then there's Mercedes Smith. She was divorced twice, but used the lessons from her experiences to completely revamp her life and inspire other women along the way as well. And then there's Lori Hanford, also known as Rich Auntie Lori. She went through a divorce 15 years ago, and now she's back on the dating market. And you might recognize her because she's starring in the Netflix series The Later Daters. That's a reality show executive produced by Michelle Obama. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have all of you here. Listen, let me just say out the gate, I appreciate you being willing to talk about what it takes to overcome one of the toughest experiences of all of our lives, right? We just, if you know, you know. I want to start with just the heartache. Like, what was the hardest part? Once you recognize that this was going to be a divorce, the hardest part for you personally?
I would say the hardest part for me was my kids. Seeing my kids go through the hurt and the pain.
Were they little kids
They were
at
little.
the time?
They were 6 and 10 at the time. So seeing the way that they did it, and also the hardest part was that depression. You know how you just like, my whole life is over.
Right.
It's never going to be the same. And trying to navigate through that space of still waking up every morning, even though you're depressed, because you had 2 kids that depend on you.
And Lori, I appreciate you being so candid about this in the past. It was gripping depression for you, right?
Yes, it was. Yes, I had to go to therapy. I mean, I had to take meds. I had to do all of that because it was later on being diagnosed as neurodivergent with ADHD. You know what I mean? All of that just started to blend together. And recently having a conversation with my son, and he was like, "Mom, look at all the stuff you're doing now. I remember when you didn't get out of bed."
Right.
And it's the fact that he still remembered that for months I didn't get out of bed.
Which is why it's so important to have this conversation, because we know the kids are always watching, right? Mercedes, for you, hardest part that you had to really push through?
The hardest part, I could say with my kids too, because now I'm divorced twice, but now I have 2 kids. So then financing the legal part was a lot when you have to finance it all yourself, when I didn't have to pay for things. So
learning how to really become self-sufficient for the first time in years.
Yes. And then I had to do everything alone because I was married, but I was a single mom. So I got used to not having where I'm legally married, but I'm not married. I don't have a husband, you know? So then going to work, dealing with the kids all the time by myself, like everything depends on me. I can't cry. I gotta be strong for everybody else.
But you did cry, right? Those are those nights when the pillow's soaked and you just trying to push through.
A lot. Yes.
Yeah, a lot of prayer.
So that was hard. The financial part, trying to rebuild when you have more responsibility and you're by yourself. It's not as easy as it is when you're lower paid, and you have to pay for daycare, you have to pay for legal fees, you have to pay for the other child, you have to pay for yourself. So that becomes hard financially.
Right, especially if you've not done it before, right? You married young, you were in your 20s, and this was...
All my 20s, yeah.
Yeah, so learning it from the first time. LaNise, I know these stories sound familiar for you as a life coach, but as a divorcee as well. Hardest part for you?
The hardest part for me was figuring out, who am I? You know, like, who am I now, right? I always say, do I like scary movies, or did I like scary movies because someone else likes scary movies? So who am I? What do I like? And I didn't know. So I had to go on a journey of figuring out, what do I like, what don't I like, and how do I go about trying new things? So that was really hard. How
hard is that? Because if you've associated yourself, right, that's not was the only thing, but it was a big part, right? What were the steps that you took trying to dismantle the broken you? I called myself a broken bird. Who just really had to learn how to fly. What was that like for you?
Mine is therapy. I went to therapy. I put myself in therapy. I put my kids in therapy. And like LaNise said, I had to find out who Lori was, because I was a mom, I was a wife, and I didn't know what I liked anymore. I didn't know what I did. So I had a good friend, and she's still my best friend. Her name was Shamana. And she walked me through this process. Who are you? Stop being the victim. You know what I mean? I was in that victim mentality, like, woe is me. But we all had to take, you know, parts to play that we did for the breakdown of the marriage. And mine was rediscovering Lori.
Right.
And that's what it was.
How much, or let me not assume, I know for me, shame was huge.
Yes.
Was
Me
shame,
too.
how much of that, especially when folks like, oh, it must have, I remember a person said it must have been you because of your
I kept my ring
career, right? And that's, you're just like, oh my gosh.
That was hard, because being so young, and then you're married twice and then divorced twice. Both are unfortunate situations.
Right.
But I learned a lot, and I turned off everybody else. That was my thing. I turned everybody off. I didn't want to hear anybody's opinions. All I cared about was what it is that I need to be in my life. What are my next steps? And I started writing it down. I journaled a lot. I put everything, all my emotions in the paper where I can see who I was. So then I started going to therapy more.
Right.
I started learning who I was, rediscovering what is it that Mercedes wants to do with her life.
Right.
How can I make my children proud and not feel bad?
And LaNise, I know writing was a big part of this for you, right? So much so that there's a book. It takes courage to do this.
Yes. So journaling was just so helpful for me, because it was able to see, who am I, but also let me talk about my growth, not just where I was, but where am I going. And so I would journal everything. I would journal, okay, today I did this, and I'm so excited that I was able to try something new or meet new people, and it just helped me grow so much. So journaling was key to my healing.
The growth is so very important to all of us, and I think all of you are beautiful models of what growth looks like. This conversation is going to continue after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. So you like the show, huh? Then let's connect on social media. Check us out on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Portia TV Show. I really appreciate you coming back to this candid conversation about what it takes to recover from divorce. Got three beautiful women with us today. Certified life coach LaNise Thrasher. She helps women heal through all forms of heartbreak. It's one of the reasons why she is known as the love cheerleader. Portia viewers, Mercedes Smith and Lori Hanford, they're here as well. All of these ladies learned how to push through, and they're sharing their life lessons with others. Okay, so what I have learned not to do is ask how long you were married, right? Because there's how long you were legally married, and then and honestly, how long things were good. So I'm going to ask you, how long have you been divorced?
I like that.
Yeah, I like that one.
Because it's complicated, right? It is. No shade to the men to whom we were married, but how long have you been divorced? Because that's the focus, the recovery.
Mine's is 15 years.
I'm actually 2 years.
2 years.
I'm 10 years.
10 years. So it just every single phase, different phases of this, there comes growth and change, and some of it's physical, right?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the emotional. You talked about therapy. Were there physical things that you had to do to sort of push yourself over the hurdle?
Mine's was, I started working out.
Okay.
I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, drove an hour to a gym, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I did, yeah. But because it was a safe space for me. My trainer, Ramisi, and
Okay, it was a trainer connection. I
yeah,
gotcha.
it was
Okay.
a trainer because he was like, you got to get out of bed. And when
Yeah.
you look good, you feel good, because I
Yeah.
was in that slumpy stage, you know. And then it's like, I just started seeing my body transform. And I was like, okay, I like my legs.
Wait a second now.
Yeah, hold on.
Whose waist is that?
Right, I like
I'm
the
just saying.
legs. So I
Mercedes, how
started
about for
working
you?
out.
For me, it was working out as well, but I
Yeah.
took a lot of self-care. So I never got to travel, so I started going everywhere I wanted to go with my kids. And I just
Well, you
thought
took
about
the
us. I took
children.
them.
That's good.
We went
Good.
everywhere we wanted to go. I don't know how many times we went to Disney, Universal Studios.
Well, I'll salute you if it was
everywhere.
more than.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's
Everywhere.
a lot. Yeah.
But I financially, I started learning how to do it. So that motivated me more on what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it. And I just got like this urge, like, I need to do another trip. I need more money. I need to do this.
Yeah.
I love how I look on the beach now. I love what I look like, and it felt good. Then I started.
love that for
Yeah, I started
you.
loving that about
That
myself.
sounds so empowering, and I'm hoping that there's some woman who will hear that and know that she's going to love how
And it
she
started
looks
off
again.
little. It wasn't big, extravagant. It was little times, and it was like, okay, we'll go to a bigger place next time. And then every month we was doing something.
Nice. LaNise, how about for you? How important is when you're talking to your clients to do something different and push yourself?
So I push my clients to try new things all the time. So for me, it was exercise. I started exercising, and then I became addicted, and I was like, I love it.
I can low-key tell.
You know, thank you, girl. Thank you.
I
Thank
see the
you.
waist is wasted.
But exercise became like therapy for me. So I would get up in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to exercise. And I would do it 5 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, I love that time. It's quiet outside. And so I always encourage my
And
clients to try
explain
something.
how, for the women and men who are still in that peril and that paralysis that comes afterwards, when you feel like you can't get up, or you go to work and you keep a smile on your face, and then you go straight back home and just once
Cry.
the kids are asleep,
Cry.
fall back out in that pillow. What was the strategic push through moment for you?
For me, I would say it was my why. Every day I thought about my why. Why am I working so hard? What do I want out of my life? Why? And every time I looked at my kids, I didn't look back no more, because the divorce was something that was in the past now.
Right,
I have
right.
to look at what my why is. Okay, I'm not my past. I'm not my divorce. I'm not whatever this person has said, all the bad things that you hear about, right?
Yeah.
You hear it gets nasty, but I'm not none of those things. It's what's my why. So I woke up every day, you know what? My why, I wrote it down. I'm going to be succccessful. I'm going to make sure my kids are proud. They don't even remember that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't feel it,
Right,
you know?
they're
And
so resilient.
so-
That, and we're talking about the push around. I'd love to hear from either of you too. What's that advice for, okay, we're not going to keep crying every night now.
Mine's is, I knew I was powerful. I knew I was powerful beyond measure, and I lost myself. And I knew, because my mom died when I was 11, I knew I was what my kids needed. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So they were my big motivation. And I just took little steps. And I was like, Laura, you're this. And when you go back to that why, when God tells you your why, your purpose, your passion, your why, nothing can stop you. And you have to get up every day. You make yourself get up.
Yeah.
Just make yourself get up.
LaNise, I understand you and I have something in common. Did some major hair changes.
Yes.
I did a big chop. What'd you do?
I cut my hair.
Yeah.
I cut my hair. So I was exercising, and I was like, I want a new look. I want a new look. So I just cut my hair. I was like, I was going to cut it all. I mean, I didn't cut it all off, but I did cut a significant amount where it was all on the floor. And I was like, all right, we just did that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we
That's
just
how I
did
feel
that.
when Lisa cut off all of mine. You saw that picture. She was like, no, we're just going to let things go. Part of
Yes.
this is letting go, right? And I see here with you, you let a lot but too,
let a
and
lot
it
go.
looks amazing.
Thank
And it
you.
might seem, some people might think that just sounds so trivial, but sometimes it's really about finding a way to look at yourself again.
Yes.
Right? And see you again, because you're trying so hard to rebuild
Exactly.
your sense of who you are and who's the woman who's going to show up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Because we're going to stop feeling sorry for the one who's divorced.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, we've got just a few seconds here, but I want you to think about this question as we go into the break. Biggest lesson that you have learned about the divorcing version of you and what this evolved version of you would tell her. Does that make sense? What you would say to the crying on the pillow version. All right? We'll have those answers when we return. Stay with us. We have just a few minutes left, and I wanted to make sure for the women and men out there going through divorce, I want to make sure you get some solid strategies. And I think some of those strategies come from just the lessons learned. What would each of you tell the divorcing version of you who was just struggling to get out of bed? LaNise, I want to start with you.
Absolutely. I would tell them, if you have breath in your body, you still have purpose. And you don't have to cry all day. I mean, of course, feel your feelings, but you have purpose, and there's a reason that you're here. God has you here for an amazing reason, and I want you to find that.
Yeah.
So even though you're hurt right now, you will get up. There is life after divorce, but you do have a purpose.
And you talk about that in It Takes Courage in
Yes.
your book. For you, Mercedes, what
For
would you
me,
say? Because she was so young, too.
Oh, yes. Give
I mean, you're
yourself-
still young,
I-
but she was young.
Yes. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, man. Nothing happens to you, it happens for you. And I'm strong believing that, because everything that's in the past, it builds you up for who you are today. So every time you keep giving yourself grace, you understand what your purpose is.
Right.
You keep striving for that. So nothing happens to you. If y'all don't hear nothing that we say, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. Understand that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Mine would be Jeremiah 29:11. Because he already knew what you were going to go through before you went through it. And just know, while you're in your marriage, I'm going to go back and piggyback, because that's the biggest thing. You have a purpose, you have a passion, and you have your why. And everybody can't go with you to the next level.
Right.
And so we always think it's a loss, but God looks at it as a gain.
Yeah.
And we don't understand it. But like you said, just wake up with your purpose, your passion, and your why. And it's all going to align. You might not see it now, but trust the process.
Yeah.
Because you're going to win.
You
gonna win.
You will win. And I have to be honest here, because I feel like, and one of the things Lisa, the sister who cut off all my hair, turned me away from the mirror and turned me back around, was just the reminder that it's not a waste of time. I just don't think a marriage that ended with a divorce was. I have two beautiful sons. You all have beautiful children with these men who you once genuinely loved, and the season changed, and the kids are still amazing, right?
Yes.
So I feel like that's so important to make sure that women and men understand, right?
Yes.
It's not a waste of time. It's a learning block. I mean, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I just believe everything in your life happens for a reason, and it's a season, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, he was a bad person.
Right.
It just means that maybe you grew together. I mean, it grew apart, and God has this whole big idea of what he has for you, and he just gives you a glimpse, and
Yeah.
we just can't get lost in the process.
How important was your ability to pray through this, right? When
That's all
we're
I
thinking
had.
about the same, this is the same God we
That's
took
all
a
I
vow
had.
in front
Yes.
of, and to say, okay, God, now help me through this part, because I'm having a hard time.
It was hard. I had a lady
angry.
told me, she said, ma'am, she said, God told me to tell you, stop praying for him. And I realized I was being such a wife. No matter what happened, I continued to pray for him, that I was like, God, have mercy on him, because I took my vows serious. So it was like, God, please have mercy for him. I'm praying for him when God was like, no, I was moving you out of this season. And that's when I had to realize things had done shifted for me, that I needed to focus on me. I needed to own me. I needed to walk in my purpose.
We can pray for them, and we can pray
Yeah,
for
and-
ourselves.
yes.
LaNise, the biggest thing that you would have done differently
I would
with the
have
information you have now.
I would have identified the red flags in the beginning. There were things that I saw that I ignored, and I'm like, well, I should have saw that, like that was in front of my face, and I didn't do anything about it. So that is one of the biggest things. I would not ignore what was in front of me, and I would use what God has given me. God has given me all of this discernment, and I can use that to say, okay,
Open to love now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Feeling like
Yes.
you've put in the work.
Definitely.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
ready to. Well, we know you are later data. We see what's going on with you later data. I'm like, how come you didn't tell me you were going? I would have been your backup on that one. But ladies, I thank you so much. Thank you for being so candid, and I'm hoping women were truly inspired, and men. Let's not forget. Brothers hurt, men hurt. Everybody hurts in a divorce. But it's getting over the hurt and leaning in God's will. We'll be right back. Listen, I get it. Rediscovering who you are after going through a divorce can be really tough. It's why I'm really grateful for women like LaNise Thrasher, Mercedes Smith, and Lori Hanford for being so candid about healing after heartache. These women are living proof you can go through something that is emotionally devastating, completely wipes you out, and still come out stronger on the other side. That's why that prayer and that relationship with God is so important. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, be sure to tell them they can watch and be sure to be the reason why someone smiles.